Hi, everybody. Matt Bernier, Mike Beer, taking a look at the featured event at Del Mar on Saturday afternoon. 2-year-olds going 7/8 of a mile. The Grade 3 Bob Hope. If you're playing this race or any of the other races at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club on Saturday, you should be playing with DRF Bets. Head on over to drf.com/bet. You'll get all the latest details and offers for new DRF Bets sign-up members. Let's take a look at this field. 7 2-year-olds going 7/8 of a mile. Some of them trying winners for the first time. Some of them turning back in distance, trying a different surface. All sorts of different things going on in here. But I think there's a couple of at least mildly promising horses in here, Mike. Let's start off down to the inside. One of two in here for Bob Baffert. That's Metropole. Drayton Van Dyke rode him in the debut. He sticks with him here. Van Dyke also rode the horse just to his outside, the number 2 Extra Hope, in each of his past 2 starts. You and I spoke a little bit before we came on here. Metropole, look, the 75 Beyer, the 94 time form U.S. rating, neither of those is offensive, but I just thought it was a very workmanlike performance.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, he did what he had to do to win first time out at 3 to 5. But it just wasn't, one of those super impressive debut wins especially for a Baffert 2-year-old. I mean, he did a lot of chasing in there. The short comment says he stalked the pace. I didn't think he stalked it. I thought he chased it. He was just up at the very end of that race to prevail. Listen, I won't be surprised when he runs well in here, Matt, but I wasn't blown away with this horse's debut.
And the horse that he went and ran down in deep stretch, that horse came back and earned a 51 at his next start. So we'll wait and see. Perhaps there's a scenario where that race doesn't come back quite as good as it initially looked on paper. But again, Metropole, throw him out at your own risk going out for Baffert. The 2 is Extra Hope going out for Richard Mandela. This is a horse, the first 3 lifetime starts just sort of even. There wasn't a heck of a lot there. Blinkers go on for the 4th lifetime start. This horse exploded visually, very impressive. A son of Shanghai Bobby. I thought it was really, really impressive, but then again, there is that part of me that wonders what else was in that field. Was it really him all of a sudden putting it all together, or was it also a product of perhaps there wasn't a lot of running going on in there?
Yeah, I mean, I have the same concerns as you did. He did look like a different horse last time, though. I didn't care much for the field that he beat. When you go use Formulator and go back through the horses that finished behind him, it doesn't look like they're that much, that's for sure. On the other hand, if you're going to beat a field like that, you might as well beat him the way this horse beat him. I mean, he won that race very easily, and I actually like him turning back for this race. Everybody else stretching out for the most part. This horse turning back.
The other Baffert horse in here, the number 3 Mucho Gusto. This was a horse that debuted, and he was bet down to even money at Los Alamitos. He was clearly well met in a spot like that. He showed big speed from the outset. He was taking a little bit of heat on the outside, and you want to talk about drawing away for fun. This is a visually very, very impressive effort. They paid over $600,000 for the son of Mucho Macho Man. Timeform US Pace Projector has him outright on the lead. And if you believe that he's going to be out there loose on the front end without any sort of a red bar indicating things being too hot on the front, boy, he looks like he could be a handful in here.
Yeah, all those things are true. I mean, it'll be interesting, I guess, as far as the pace goes, just to see what the 4 can do, Savagery, because, he's shown pretty good speed in his last 2 races, but this horse, his debut was very, very nice. As you mentioned, he had speed. Talabo sort of let him float off the turn there. He wound up in the 3 or 4 path, but once he set him down in the stretch, he left that field for dead. I was impressed with this horse's first run.
The number 4 Savagery you just made mention of goes out for Peter Miller. His game is speed. Broke his maiden 2 starts back against open maiden claiming group. $62,500 was the level. Gate to wire fashion, shows up in a restricted stakes race most recently, ran into Sparkyville, who we'll talk about in a little bit, showed some speed breaking from the outside, but just really at the end of the day was no match for Sparkyville. Of the 2 horses exiting that race, I much prefer Sparkyville, but I suppose if you look at Savagery and say second off the bench, going to be a forward sort of pace presence, I suppose he's a little bit interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do here, especially if Mucho Gusto has the same speed he had first time out to his inside. It feels like it puts him in a really tough position, and then you just add in the fact that he ran well last time, but he was really no match for Sparkyville at the end, so he's got a lot working against him in a race like this.
Owning is the number 5 for Simon Callahan. The blinkers come off. We haven't seen him since the Del Mar Juvenile Turf that was back on September the 2nd. This horse debuted July the 8th at Los Alamitos on the main track, the only track they have at Los Al. And he looked pretty good. He was a little bit on the green side, and then they threw him to the wolves. He ran into Instagram, he ran into Sparkyville. Just didn't work out for him. Then they tried to go to the turf. To be honest with you, I don't know what the flashback babies are going to end up being.
Right.
I don't really know what the forte is. Is it turf? Is it dirt? This horse, they paid a considerable amount of money for him, $260,000 at the OBS April 18 sale. I just think he's in kind of tough in a spot like this.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I looked at him like this. I don't love him in here. If it comes to post time for this race, though, and I just want to take a shot with a bigger price in this race, It would almost have to be him. I mean, I thought his debut was fine. They sprinted him 5.5 on the dirt. I'm with you. He was a little green in there, but he actually ran pretty well. And he's just since then, I mean, what is he supposed to do? They went right into the best pal where Instagram just ran away from that field. And then they went to turf with him. So he's a little bit dirtied up. There's no telling, maybe he's taken a little step forward since then. It's been a couple of months. He has a little bit of a wild card feel to him to me.
Sparkyville, he was the winner of that restricted sunny slope most recently for Jeff Bondy. We have a positive formulator fact for Jeff Bondy. Past 5 years, dirt winner last out, second after the layoff in Southern California, 4 for 12 with a 273 ROI. He enters this race with the highest last out buyer in the field. Mike, there was really nothing that I could look at and say, poking a hole in that most recent performance. I thought he was professional. I thought he looked good. I didn't think he ever really looked like a loser. Stevens had an absolute handful of them down the backside, waiting for the right time. When he produced him, this horse ran. That was also worth noting. That was his first start as a gelding.
Yeah, I liked everything about his last race, too. I mean, Stevens really took a good hold of him from the start. It was only a 4-horse field, but he rated him back to last in there. He was much the best at the end. And you know what? He's just one of those horses, man. I liked his first 2 career starts very early in the year. I thought he ran well both times. They took their shots in the bigger races, grade 1 and grade 2 in his next 2 starts. He wasn't up for that. He was good again last time. He fits really well in this race. Yeah, I wound up not picking him on top, but I like this horse. I think he's going to run a good race on Saturday.
And the outside runner is a horse taking on winners for the first time for Keith and Kent DeSormo. That's the number 7 Sueño. The dam was multiple stakes placed. This is a son of a Triades. Remember, he was on the Breeders' Cup trail for a hot minute a few years back before he unfortunately got injured. To date, this horse hasn't run particularly fast. I don't know, again, what the Atreides offspring are going to ultimately end up being. But simply put, from a speed figure standpoint, this horse needs to improve.
Right. I mean, he's just, based on what he's done in his first 2 career starts, he's just found himself in a very tough spot in the Bob Hope.
Let's take a look at the picks for us in the Grade 3 Bob Hope this year down at Del Mar. Mike, you're going to go with the 3 Mucho Gusto. I'm going to go with the 2 Extra Hope. In my opinion, they're the 2 horses outside of Sparkyville. I want to use a little bit of Sparkyville, but that speed and the way that Mucho Gusto won that career debut, I just thought he was very impressive.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought he looked really good first time out. To me, it was between him and Sparkyville. I probably took the chickens way out and took Baffert on top, but I think they'll both run well.
Extra Hope, I'm going to be very, very interested to see one way or the other what we get on Saturday, because he just looked like an entirely different animal in that most recent run, first time going out with the blinkers. Was it the distance? Was it a combination of softer company? Or did the equipment change just make all the difference? We'll find out on the slight turn back in distance. I like Extra Hope. Mike likes Mucho Gusto in the Grade 3 Bob Hope at Del Mar, race number 8 on Saturday. If you're playing the Bob Hope or any of the other races at Del Mar on Saturday afternoon, you should be playing with a DRF Bets account. Head on over to drf.com/bet for all the latest as far as details and offers are concerned for a new DRF Bets sign-up account. Race number 8, scheduled post time down at Del Mar for the Bob Hope is 7 o'clock Eastern. Good luck.